Hey all, welcome to a new episode of the Geek Report. This Geek Report is for the weeks of July 15th through August 4th, 2025. Let's take a look at the news in the world of TV, movies, and games for the past few weeks.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy, doing blessed, and doing overall safe. Welcome to your Geek Report for the weeks of July 15th through August 4th of 2025. Before I get started on what I'm going to be talking about this week, I do want to apologize for doing this late. Some real world stuff got in the way, and I had to focus on it before I could focus on my Geek Report, so I do want to apologize for that. But anyway, let's get on with this episode of the Geek Report, and we're going to start off in our TV and movie news segment. And we got some huge news out of the Legend of Zelda movie that they have found their Zelda and Link. We're going to talk about this a little bit and give you my overall impressions of it. Then we're going to talk about the new Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. And I'm going to just kind of give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it and overall what I think of it. Then we got another trailer for Tron Ares, and the more I see Tron Ares, the more I get hyped for it. Okay, and Tron Ares looks to be a good movie, but still, there's the specter of it being made by Disney. So we're going to kind of take a look at the Tron Ares trailer, and I'll give you some of my thoughts on it. And finally, the big gaming news this past week was the Battlefield 6 reveal. We got a couple of trailers. We're going to look at three of them. We're going to look at the reveal trailer, which focuses on campaign. We're going to look at the world of Battlefield 6, which basically focuses on the world of the campaign of Battlefield 6. And then we're going to look at the multiplayer reveal of Battlefield 6. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the Geek Report for the weeks of July 15th through August 4th of 2025.
Our first segment tonight is our movie and TV news segment.
Now then, let's start off this week's Geek Report with some news about the Legend of Zelda live action adaptation. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, some time ago, Nintendo announced they were going to do a live action adaptation of Legend of Zelda. Okay. And we hadn't really heard anything about it. We don't know what time frame it's going to take place in. We don't know like which of the games they're going to adapt. I mean, really nothing. We just know it's going to be a movie. Now, let me say this. A lot of these Legend of Zelda games are so massive that we're just going to have to accept that some of the storylines in these games are going to kind of be glossed over a little bit. Okay, that's something I'm just going to have to accept, really, because these games are so massive. Whether you're talking about Link in the Past, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, whatever you're talking about, there is a lot of massive stuff going on in a Legend of Zelda game. Okay, but I think they're on the right track because this past week we got news that they had announced who was going to play Link and Zelda. Now, Link was the guy, he was the hero, started from nothing and became the hero of Hyrule. And Zelda was the princess who was put to sleep by Ganondorf, who you had to save by capturing the Triforce or whatever you need to do to wake her up. Okay. Well, this past week we got an announcement about who will be playing Zelda and Link. Okay. So this here is coming from People magazine, and I am going to remove that. So this here is coming from People magazine. And what you have here is Bro Bragginson will be playing Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will be playing Link. Okay. Now, if you go to Benjamin Evan Ainsworth's IMDb or what movies he's known as, I don't really know any of these movies. I really don't. Okay. I mean, I've heard of the remake of Pinocchio, but beyond that, I don't really know any of these movies he's a part of. Okay. And then when you go to Bo Bragginson's page, the only show I know her from is Renegade Nell, where she played the sister who was not a fighter, but had unique abilities. Okay, who you could kind of see throughout the series had these special powers or magic. Okay, I think this is a perfect casting. Okay, now there was some like people out there who wanted to be cast by someone else, and I'm not going to get into that. Okay, because that's just a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. Okay, but I think this is a perfect casting. First off, because you don't really know these people. Okay, these are basically fresh faces right here. Okay, fresh faces. You know, you don't really know them from anything else, and they don't have a huge history. Okay. Secondly, okay, you know, they look like the characters. Okay. There was some discussion over on Twitter that they should make Zelda a trans character. And I applaud Nintendo for going against that. I think he saw on the wall, and I think a lot of people saw on the wall, that people are tired of their characters being made into something they're not. Okay? It's just that simple. Alright? That they're tired of their characters being made into something they're not. And so he didn't want to get caught up into all that. So he made them average characters. Okay? Just average characters. Alright? And a lot of people got ticked off at him. I, for one, applaud him. Okay? I, for one, applaud him for keeping things focused on the story and not kind of get caught up in all these side conversations about... to not really get caught up in all these side conversations that Star Wars and Star Trek have gotten caught up in. Okay? About this character's sexuality. About that character's sexuality. Guess what? We don't care. Okay? Sorry. We don't care. Alright? We care about the story that we know. Alright? So I think on that front right there, they have made the perfect choice. On the other front, I think that with a little makeup, you know, especially with Bo, because she is not blonde-haired. But maybe they're not going to turn her blonde hair for the movie, but I would suspect they are. I think with a little blonde hair, these two could be a live-action Zelda and Link. Okay? They look like the characters, you know? They're not big and bulky, or they're not super tall or anything. These look like what you would imagine Zelda and Link to look like in a live-action setting. Okay? So yeah, I completely applaud this because on one hand, he resisted all these calls by these weirdos who wanted to make Zelda a trans character. Okay? And on the other hand, he got them as close to what a live action Zelda and Link would look like as he could. Okay? Yeah, Bo's going to have probably blonde hair or some type of wig, or maybe she'll dye her hair. I don't know. You know, but Bo Bragginson, if I can ever say that name right, and Benjamin Ainsworth look like Zelda and Link. They look like them. Okay? So already this movie is off to a great start. Alright? But I think the question is, when is it going to be set? Now, it would be easy for him to set it during Breath of the Wild. Okay? That's the most recent, you know, Legend of Zelda really is the Breath of the Wild series. Okay? I think, though, that if he really wanted to do something that would bring in both new people and old people, not just Breath of the Wild fans, but pure Legend of Zelda fans, he would make it happen in A Link to the Past. I think the SNES Link to the Past, you know, is probably the peak of Zelda. Okay? I know people love Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, but for me, the ultimate Zelda game was A Link to the Past. because you had like time travel and different worlds. You had the light world and the dark world and all this stuff. Okay. So I think that if he wanted to really bring in a lot of the nostalgia, but bring in a lot of the new stuff as well, he would make it in A Link in the Past because I think it's a perfect middle ground to both the past and the future of Zelda. Okay. But no, here's the question. It's going to be a movie. It ain't going to be a series. I think that this is a mistake. I think this is a huge, huge mistake. Okay. Now, look, I have nothing against it being made into a movie. Okay. I have nothing against that. I just think that there's so much going on in Zelda games, whether you're talking about going into dungeons, collecting items to upgrade your weapons, collecting weapons, all this stuff. I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be cut out of a movie. And I think they should have made it into a series. I really do. I think they should have made it into a series. Okay? I mean, I think with a movie, you get 2 hours to compress everything into a 2-hour movie. Okay? Whether you're talking about Link getting the sword, to basically getting the power sword, to saving Zelda, you've got to compress all that into a 2-hour movie. Okay? I think that on one hand they should have done a series. I think Zelda is the perfect vehicle for a TV series. Okay, a perfect vehicle for it. Now I can understand why they would want to do a movie. Okay, they had just gotten out of the Super Mario Brothers movie. They want to do live action, and so they're kind of wanting to test the waters. Okay, and I understand that. I fully understand that, respect that, all that. All right. I just think that this would have been the perfect vehicle for a series instead of a movie, and I think we have to accept that there's going to be stuff cut out of Zelda, of the Zelda movie. Okay? That there's going to be stuff cut out of the Zelda movie. Stuff that we know from the game that they just did not have time for. Okay? I guess a part of me is still kind of hoping for a, series. That they'll change their mind and make it into a series rather than a movie. Okay? But I think that a while back, I think this proves my point that a while back, Nintendo is finally getting back into the multimedia game. And I think they've started with their two biggest hits Mario, which was animated, and then Legend of Zelda, which is going to be live action. And I think they've got so many others. But you've also got, let's see, Metroid. Metroid's another one that could be made either into animation or live action. Although I would suspect that, Metroid would be more for an anime series than a movie. That's another one that I think would be more for a series than a movie. Because there's a lot going on in those Metroid games, okay? I mean, Nintendo's got a great backlog of stuff that they can put forward to do either a live action movie series or an animated movie series. And I think right now Mario Brothers proved they can do it. They now want to see if they can do a live action movie, which I respect. I just think that Legend of Zelda should have been made into a series. And who knows, maybe if the movie is successful, they will do a series of Legend of Zelda. Okay, they will do the series. I just think that now they should try a live action series instead of a movie with Zelda. But back to what I was saying, we've got our live action Legend of Zelda leads. Bo Bragginson will be playing Zelda, Princess Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will be playing Link. These are two great, I think these are perfect, absolutely perfect castings for this. And I can't wait to see a trailer. But that's the whole crust of the whole thing. Until we see a trailer, we don't know what direction they're going in. And I think we really need to see a trailer before we get too excited about anything.
Continuing on with this week's TV and movie news segment.
Continuing on, we got a new movie trailer out this week. And it is a sequel to a movie that came out in 2021 that is an adaptation of a game that's near and dear to a lot of gamers' hearts, okay? And of course, I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. Now, when I was a kid, I played Mortal Kombat, like many of my friends. We learned the fatalities and, just all the good stuff. And then in 1994, we got the Mortal Kombat movie and then Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And they were okay, all right? Let me just put it to you like that. They were okay. They weren't great. They weren't like smash hits or anything, but they were okay. The first one was better than Annihilation. Annihilation, in my view, is always the lowest point when it comes to Mortal Kombat movies. A couple of years ago, though, they rebooted the movies, and it came out with Mortal Kombat. And I didn't see it. Full on, will be straight up, I didn't see it. Okay, still haven't seen it. But now they're doing a sequel called Mortal Kombat 2, and we're going to take a look at it. And I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it based on my viewing of the original movie, Mortal Kombat and Annihilation from the 90s, not the one that came out in 2021, as well as my experience with the games. So this here is a trailer for the upcoming movie/sequel, Mortal Kombat 2.
Uno mas, thanks.
You're Johnny Cage.
Now, already they're off to a good start because they are keeping it to where, Johnny Cage is kind of like a washed up actor. That's what the first one did, and that's what the games have said. That Johnny Cage was an actor with a big ego. He's become washed up because things have changed, and that's how he gets into the tournament. So they are kind of following that, okay? So I am glad they're not deviating too far from the games in that sense.
I loved Citizen Cage when I was a kid.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
They should do a reboot.
Now, one of the things I noticed in this is that outfit, that JC outfit, is really reminiscent of the more recent Mortal Kombat games instead of the old ones, okay? So I think they're kind of trying to thread the needle here. Give us the Johnny Cage story from the original games, but also have some of the outfits from, say, the more recent games, okay?
Nobody wants that. Shit went out in the 90s. Johnny Cage.
Now, here we see Raiden and Sonya Blade. I can't really tell what Sonya is wearing, so I can't really say if it's a game-accurate outfit. But Raiden, full-on accurate outfit, okay? That's how we knew him from the original games. That's how we knew him from the 2021 movie, from what I understand. And that's how we know Raiden. One of the big fallbacks, the big problems with the 1990s movies was they made Raiden to look almost like Gandalf, Instead of having him in this outfit, they had him in an all-white outfit. And then in Annihilation, they had him in a white and gold outfit. Okay? So, I'm glad, so far they're getting the characters, their looks down pat. Okay?
You have been chosen to fight. Tell me you're not some crazy fans. How are you doing that?
Are you coming or what?
Where the hell am I?
It's called more.
Okay, that character right there was Katana. Alright, they've got her down too, because that was one of her signature weapons in the original game, was the fans. Okay, that's how you knew that was Katana. So yeah, they've got her down pat.
It's called Mortal Kombat. It's a fighting tournament. To the death.
Fuck that.
Now, let me go back here for a minute, okay? That looks like Shao Kahn, okay? And it looks like Shao Kahn from the games, okay? And I keep on going back to this because I think the way the characters look are so important for a movie like this. Because you want the audience to connect with the characters from the games, okay? You don't want to suddenly sit there and say, oh, this is Shao Kahn, he's completely different now from what he was in the games. That was one of the big mistakes they did in the original 1990 movies, was they tried to change it up because maybe they just didn't have the technology or whatnot. But so far, they're nailing the characters down, okay? And I'm very happy about that.
Fuck that. This is a war for the fate of your world.
You dickheads in or what?
Now, I'm assuming this is meant to be Kano, okay? The guy in the background.
You dickheads in.
I'm assuming that's meant to be Kano, okay? Or Kane. I apologize. That's meant to be Kane, okay? The thing about it is, in the original games, Kane had like half of his face destroyed and replaced with like some type of metal cybernetic thing. So you don't really see that here. So if that is Kane, okay, fine. But if it ain't, I wish they would have kind of let someone know, because it sounds like Kane, okay? The international criminal that Sonya Blade was chasing after, okay? I just don't know, because I did not see the 2021 movie, okay? And that's what this is a sequel of. This is a sequel to the movie that came out in 2021, all right? So I'm not sure if that's Kane or not, but if it's not, they didn't get his character right.
In or what?
I'm not some champion. I don't have trans.
Okay, here we have Jax. They got his arms right. And from what I remember, when I saw clips of the 2021 movie, Jax had his arms frozen and broken off, and he had them replaced with cybernetics. Okay, so they're getting that right. Okay.
Former arms. Or shoot lightning bolts. This shit's got nothing to do with me. I'm an actor.
I find you annoying.
Not the face.
There's a war going on outside us. You can run, but you can't hide forever, ever.
It's time to become the hero you were meant to be. All right, you big ugly fuck. It's showtime.
And there's my boy Scorpion right there. There's my boy right there, Scorpion. No doubt about it, that is Scorpion. I mean, what else can I say? Scorpion was my boy in Mortal Kombat, okay? And he probably still is to this day. It's been a while since I played a Mortal Kombat game, I will be honest with you. But in Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, my two were Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They were my go-to guys, okay? And I'm glad that they kept him the way he is, okay? He looks great. I mean, he looks like a complete and total kick-butt guy, okay?
Only the strong survive.
And I'm glad they're keeping the fatalities. I mean, the fatality looks awesome from Sub-Zero right here. Looks absolutely great and awesome. I mean, I'm so glad that they are keeping the fatalities in this movie. Okay? Because when something transfers over to game to movie, okay, you worry that they're going to have to toss some stuff out. And I'm fully expecting them to toss some things out in this movie, okay? But I was really hoping that they would not toss out the fatalities. And I'm glad to see that they didn't. I mean, I'm just really glad that they did not toss out the fatalities. Alright.
Storm survive.
And I'm glad to hear that music again. You know, that music brings back so many memories. You know, even if it is been altered a little bit, brings back so many memories. Really does. But yeah, that was Mortal Kombat. It's coming out in October. Here's my problems. Okay, here's really my issues with this so far. Okay, and I'm just going to be straight up with you about my issues with this so far. So let me talk about issue 1. So they could have chosen anyone else to be the focus of this movie, okay? Now, I understand that Jax and Sonya Blade and Raiden were in the first one that happened in 2021, okay? I get that. But they literally could have chosen anyone else to be the focus of this movie. Kung Lao is a good example of that. You know, Johnny Cage, I understand where they're going with it in terms of Johnny Cage because, you know, Johnny Cage is this egotistical actor and he only cares about himself and he's down on his luck and this happens and along the way he grows, okay? But maybe it's just the fact that I never played with Johnny Cage in the game, that I never really connected with the character in any of the other movies. I just felt that they could have gone another direction. Okay, I really do feel that they could have gone another direction in terms of the central character. Okay, I mean, there were a number of characters they could have focused on in terms of being the central character of this movie. Okay, and I just don't understand why they chose Johnny Cage. Okay. I mean, I understand what they were going with in terms of his redemption arc. So, you know, his so-called redemption arc, him actually starting to care about people and all that stuff. I just felt that he could have gone another direction. I really do. Okay, maybe I just don't care for Johnny Cage. I don't know, but they could have gone another direction. Okay. Here's my second issue. All right, this movie has got to pack a lot in 2 hours. You've got the main story, which is the Mortal Kombat tournament. Then you've got the side stories that could involve Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Then you've got the side story that involves Sonya, Jax, and then you got Johnny Cage's story. Then you got the story about Sung Soon. Then you've got Shao Kahn's story. Then you got Katana's story. I mean, there is a lot that this movie is going to have to pack in 2 hours, okay? I mean, there is just huge amounts of stuff that is going to need to be packed in this movie in 2 hours. And you can't do it all. And that's why I think that it is a seriously huge mistake for them to do this movie the way they're doing it. Okay? I personally think they should take the Avengers route. Okay? Now, if you don't remember, when the Avengers came out, they did each of the Avengers their own movie. Okay? I personally think they should do the same thing with Mortal Kombat. Okay? Pick the key characters from Mortal Kombat. Sonya, Raiden, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, Goro, Katana, maybe even do Jax. You know, pick the central figures of Mortal Kombat, okay? Have them each do their own movie. So that way, when it's time for the actual tournament, okay, then, you know, we don't need to worry about their side stories. We can focus on the story of the tournament, okay? I think that's the big mistake they're doing here, okay? to be completely honest, this and the 2021 movie feels just like a quick cash grab. You know, they found Mortal Kombat was back popular again. They decided to do a movie, okay? That's literally what it feels like right now. And maybe my opinion will change after I see the 2021 Mortal Kombat. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But right now, as of right now, before I've seen the 2021 version of Mortal Kombat, this feels like a quick cash grab, okay? When they should be taking a more Avengers-esque approach to it and give each character their own movie, the main characters of their own movie that lead up to the tournament, okay? So yeah, that was Mortal Kombat 2. It's coming out this October. Look, I'm just going to be honest with you, all right? Right now, it does not, based on just this trailer alone, it ain't even worth a rental for me right now, okay? And it's not because I'm not a fan of the games or anything. It's just I don't like the way they're doing it, and I'm not a big Johnny Cage fan, and they are making the focus on Johnny Cage. I mean, it looks good. They're getting the characters right. They're getting the sound effects right. They're even getting some of the settings right, okay? But just the 2 points I talked about earlier, the fact that they're making it focused on Johnny Cage and the fact that they're not taking a more Avengers route with introducing the characters where they're trying to just basically squeeze everything into 2 hours. Yeah, this has not massive failure, but this has disappointment written all over it. So yeah, it's not even worth a rental. I might check it out when it comes to streaming, but beyond that, nah.
Continuing on with this week's TV and movie news segment.
Now, finishing out our movie and TV segment, we got a new trailer for Tron Ares. This is the third Tron film in the series. We had Tron, and then we had Tron Legacy, and now we got Tron Ares. Let me say, the more I see about this, the more excited I get for it, because this does look like a decent, entry into the Tron series. But I have so many questions about it, okay? I just have so many questions about how this all fits into the Tron universe, okay? Especially after what happened at the end of Tron Legacy, okay? So let's take a look at the trailer, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the trailer for the upcoming movie, Tron Ares.
Since time began.
Now, what we are seeing here is one of, the ships from Tron. But it's been altered a little bit, because in the original and in the second Tron movie, the sides here, like right here where the sides are, would go straight down. But this one seems more like it's been altered a little bit or manipulated somewhat. So they are kind of updating things. But what we're also seeing is that while these big red ships were in the digital world, that ain't the digital world. That's the real world. So somehow, some way, these ships are going to be coming into the real world.
Man has gazed at the stars and he has wondered, am I alone? So much talk of AI and big tech today.
Now, I really like how they did that whole thing with AI, because that is a big topic today, okay? AI. And in all honesty, I use AI, okay? For some of my intros and stuff, I use AI to make the screen you see, okay? So I'm just being real with you. So yeah, bringing this out now when we're talking about AI and stuff is I think it's very good, and it kind of links to the real world a little bit. But I don't want it to become overly, compounded by the world. What I mean by that is, don't get too far into the real world stuff and forget about the fantasy stuff. Because that's what these movies are meant to do. They're meant to make us walk away from the real world for a little bit and just lose ourselves in an adventure. Okay?
Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like? When will we get there? Well, folks, we're not going there. They are coming here. I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier. He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield, I will simply make you another.
You think you're in...
Now, Jared Leto's character Ares looks absolutely great. Okay, I think they did a great job bringing out Ares using Jared Leto. But I'm kind of wondering where this is going with his character. You know, I mean, he's meant to basically be the ultimate soldier. Okay, and what we saw earlier, this right here. Now, in the Tron movies, the Flynns and all that had their technology to get to the digital world through lasers. So the name of the company in Tron and Tron Legacy was called Incom. But Sam Flynn and his dad, they kept the whole secret of going to the digital world secret, okay? So I'm kind of wondering, is this Incom? Because we're not seeing any of the normal Incom stuff that we normally see, you know. So is this Incom? Have they finally discovered, you know, the secret of going to the digital world and bringing stuff back? Or is this a completely different company who somehow just discovered it by themselves by accident? Okay, I'm wondering how that's going to play into this.
Well, folks, we're not going there. They are coming here. I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier.
Now that right there, it's good to see the fighting from Tron back. You know, back in the original Tron and Tron Legacy, they had the arena where you have with fling what basically was ring. I don't know what you would call them, you know, but they would come back to you. So it's good to see those back. This almost looks like the arena. Okay, this looks like some type of arena inside the digital world. Okay. And these guys in blue right here were always meant to be the good guys, and the guys in red were meant to be the bad guys. So that kind of tells me that Ares could either be the bad guy throughout the entire thing or start off as one.
He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield, I will simply make you another.
Now, that whole thing right there, honestly, is ringing in my ear of that this company is basically using the digital world for slavery. Okay? That they're trying to pitch to these people of soldiers that would never die, never need to be healed or anything. If they die on the battlefield, you can just make more. Okay? And honestly, it kind of reeks of slavery.
You think you're in control of this? You're not.
Now, this right here is something I'm curious about, because in the last Tron movie, Tron Legacy, Sam Flynn and Cora was like a program inside the digital world, escaped the digital world with the help of Sam's father. Okay? And it cost Sam's father his life, and who's played by Sam's father is played by Jeff Bridges, whose name in the movie is Kevin Flynn. But when Sam escaped, he brought with him Korra. Okay, now Korra was a program inside the digital world that escaped with Sam Flynn, but it cost Kevin Flynn his life. All right, and we're going to talk more about Kevin Flynn, Jeff Bridges' character later on. But I'm kind of wondering, could this be Sam and Korra's daughter? I mean, that's something that I'm kind of wondering about. Because that bike that she's uncovering right there looks very similar to the bike that they rode out on at the end of Tron Legacy. Okay? So I'm kind of wondering if that's going on. If what we're seeing here is Sam and Korra's daughter. Alright? That's something that's kind of got me, wondering about that. If that is true, that's cool. I'm fully down with that. Okay?
What are you?
I'm looking for something. Something I do not understand. Hang on!
A malfunctioning program who wants to live. Why is that?
It's just a feeling.
Now, see, this is another thing that's got me kind of curious. That's Kevin Flynn, okay? But Kevin Flynn died in Tron Legacy. We saw it, okay? In the last moments to save his son, he gave his life. So, is this just an echo of Kevin Flynn? Or did Kevin Flynn somehow survive but became stuck in the digital world? Okay, and now he's kind of helping Ares kind of try to find his way. So I'm kind of wondering if that's going on here.
Fascinating.
Alright, so that one's coming out in October. To be specific, October 10th. A lot of movies coming out in October this year. But yeah, that was Tron Ares. It looks good, okay? And I think what they're going for is Ares wants to be, normal. He wants to be human, okay? But these people, whoever discovered or found or whatever this technology that can bring stuff from the digital world to the real world, are basically using them as slave labor and slave soldiers and all that, and he no longer wants any of that. Okay? So that's kind of what I'm getting from this, is when humanity finds this technology, discovers this technology, whatever you want to call it, okay? Sam and Kevin, they had this technology way before anyone else. So I'm figuring that someone must have discovered it and reverse engineered it. But anyway, they discover that they can literally create a slave society of slaves to fight our wars, to clean our houses, and that sort of thing. And somehow along the way, Ares, who's meant to be the ultimate soldier, says, you know what, forget this, and tries to find his own way, and that doesn't make people happy. And then somehow, I think that one woman we saw right here, that woman we see right here, I think that's meant to be Korra and Sam's daughter. Because that bike she's unfurling right there looks very similar to the bike they rode out on at the end of Tron Legacy. So I'm thinking that she's their daughter, okay? And that maybe she was trying to stop this company from using this technology that Sam and Kevin had all these years, okay? So yeah, I think this could be Korra's daughter, and she somehow helps Ares somehow. But anyway, that was Tron Ares. It comes out on October 10th, 2025. Even after the second trailer here, I'm still not sure about this. It looks good, but I'm more sure than I was before when I saw the first trailer. So, is this worth $100 to go out and see? As of right now, no, because I've been burned too many times by Hollywood, especially Disney. Okay, especially Disney. But let me say this. This has piqued my interest, and I might rent this out at a later date just to check it out, or I might wait till it comes on Disney Plus for streaming. But is it worth $100 to go and see in Two Towns Over? Because that's how much it costs me to go see a movie nowadays, about $100 if I want to go see it in a theater. No, it's not worth that. Just because Disney does not have a good track record with me, and I don't want to spend $100 just to waste it and watch them destroy another franchise. So, as of right now, this is worth a rental on Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or whatever. But is it worth $100 to go and see Two Towns Over? No, not this time.
Now, moving on from the world of TV and movies, let's look at what happened this week in the world of video games.
Now, moving on to our gaming news segment. Really, the big news that happened these past couple of weeks, these past 2 or 3 weeks, was the reveal of Battlefield 6. And I have to say, as someone who has been let down by Call of Duty, as someone who really wants to scratch that first-person shooter itch, okay, Battlefield 6 came out guns a-blazing, okay? Now, this past couple of weeks, we got 2 trailers. We got what amounts to a single-player reveal trailer, and we got a multiplayer reveal trailer, and we're going to look at both of them. So this here is the Battlefield 6 reveal trailer that focuses mainly on single-player. So this here is the Battlefield 6 reveal trailer.
My fellow citizens, my fellow.
So right here, we're seeing the president getting ready to speak. And what we're also seeing is what amounts to an attack on New York. We've not seen something like this since the OG Modern Warfare 2, okay? Where war has come to the heartland in a big way. And by the looks of things, in Battlefield 6, that's what they're doing. Now, another thing that I saw pointed out is if you look at his knuckles, they look bruised and cut. So that kind of indicates to me that we might have a mission where we protect the president. And that this is happening right after that mission. Okay? We could be having a mission where we protect the president. And this is just like some of the results of it. Okay?
Will prevail.
We're ready, Mr.
See, he's just getting ready to speak, and you can tell he's been through something. Even just this part of the face, he's been through something, okay? So that kind of tells me that one of the missions we're going to be taking, that we might be doing, is either going to focus on this protecting the president, or it's going to focus on the aftermath of whatever happened to him.
My fellow citizens, today represents a dark day in our history. With this monstrous, unprovoked attack, no country is safe from their reach. For all those serving on our behalf, our prayers go with you. For the Pax Armada.
Okay, so after the reveals, both the single player and the multiplayer, we got kind of a Battlefield, talk around where they talked about Battlefield and stuff, specifically Battlefield 6. And what they basically said was that in this world, NATO has collapsed. Okay, countries are leaving NATO, and they're going to what they're calling the coalition, which is led by a group of mercenaries called Pax Armada. And that's who we're seeing here is Pax Armada mercenaries. All right?
Our mercenaries who are watching now, I have a message. it's over.
Let's get to work.
I'm your masters of war. Hear the bells of victories. Hear the hide behind walls. 30 seconds.
Okay, that right there is kind of creepy because that looks like Coney Island. Okay, so I'm seriously thinking that one of the missions we have is going to involve some type of invasion of New York, which is something we've not seen since the OG Modern Warfare 2 and 3 that came out like early 2000s. Okay? So I'm thinking that's what we're going to see.
30 seconds. Ain't turn and run farther when the fast bullets fly.
Move fast. Move decisive. Dagger on my 6.
Send it.
And I will bet you die. And your death will come soon. I'll follow your casket by the pale light. I'll watch while you and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead.
Pick the target for the F-61.
See that right there? That whole scene right there. Let me go back and show you that scene again.
Till I'm sure that you're dead.
Pick the target for the F-61.
See, that tells me that specifically that part of that game campaign where we're dealing with New York, it's going to not just be one mission, but it could be multiple missions. Kind of like what they did in the OG Modern Warfare 2. Okay? Where you had the Russian soldiers parachuting down onto Arcadia and stuff. Okay, that's the feeling I'm getting from Battlefield 6 is OG Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Okay, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Now, I'm assuming that that guy right there is probably going to be... Now, I'm assuming this guy right here is probably going to be the leader of the Pax Armada. Okay. So right there, you saw the Battlefield 6 reveal trailer, which focused mainly on the campaign. Now I'm going to go and show you the multiplayer reveal trailer, and you get a few more tidbits. But before I do, I kind of want to describe what the world is, okay? Now, just as I made this video, they came out with a trailer that describes the world of Battlefield 6. So let's take a look at this trailer also, and I'll give you some of my own feedback about the world of Battlefield 6, okay?
The year is 2027.
Okay, 2027. That's just 2 years from now, okay?
The world is on edge. Major European countries have left NATO, while the U.S. and its remaining allies grapple with the fallout.
So, it doesn't specifically say which nations have left NATO. But I think given recent events, you can probably guess it's probably going to be the Ukraine, which they weren't never a part of NATO to begin with. And I suspect it's going to be a lot of the old Soviet bloc countries like Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. I suspect those. I even could possibly see going as far west as Germany. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm seeing those countries leaving NATO. Okay, going from as far west as Germany to as far east as the Ukraine. Okay.
Countries looking to fill the power vacuum left by this chaos turn to a massive private military corporation with deep pockets and the latest tech to reshape the global balance of power.
Now this is where they're talking about the mercenaries called Pax Armada. So apparently in this game, Pax Armada is taking these countries that have left NATO and basically using them along with another group called the Coalition to basically reshape the balance of world power.
Army is Pax Armada. They represent a new breed of enemy, sophisticated and unafraid of consequences.
NATO's tattered remnants are wounded and battered, but this hardened alliance is determined to stop Pax Armada. This violent conflict will introduce you to a cast of memorable characters as you fight across the globe. Returning gunfire in the streets of Cairo, and crippling machines of war on the shores of Gibraltar.
Welcome to the world of Battlefield 6.
Okay, so we got two names. We got Cairo and we got Gibraltar. And we know from the trailer we're going to be in New York. Like Long Island, Coney Island, New York. So just that alone has got me hyped for the trailer. It's been so long since we've seen a good trailer. So long since we've seen a good trailer for a campaign. Okay? And, you know, it sucks that's not coming on PlayStation 4. I would love for this to come on PlayStation 4, but it ain't. Now then, let's go and check out the multiplayer reveal trailer. Because a game can't just be a campaign. You know, it's got to be campaign and multiplayer. So let's go and check out the multiplayer trailer for Battlefield 6. Now, I want y'all to look at something here. Down here at the bottom, it says gameplay not final, represents a game in development, contains a mixture of cinematic and gameplay footage. Okay, so please keep that in mind, that this is not gameplay completely full. This is cinematic and gameplay, okay? Okay, that right there looks pretty dope. You know, in Battlefield, they don't have kill streaks. They have, you know, where you have a class, and each class has its own set of unique abilities, okay? It's kind of like Overwatch, but more realistic, okay? Where the assault class, you can have, you know, flashbangs and stuff. But if they're putting mortars in this game, which I suspect would be more for a support class, that's going to be freaking awesome. But I'm wondering what's going to be a counter to that if they're going to do mortars. Okay?
Oh, we got the fucking bench!
Okay, that right there, where he's dragging the dude, that was gameplay. I can tell. So, not only are you going to be able to revive a character if you're a medic or something, but you're also going to be dragging him out of harm's way so that way you can do that. Which I think is a huge, huge thing. Because in 2042, you know, that was the last Battlefield game I played. You couldn't do that. You had to revive them right there. And I guarantee, and 90% of the time, if you tried that, there would be a sniper basically using them as bait to get someone. Okay? So, yeah, I'm totally down with the revive, where you can now drag people out of the way and revive them. All right? And they're bringing back, you know, machines in this game. I'm wondering how they're going to do it. Are they going to use a different model? Are they going to use the 2042 model? What I really hope they kind of do is they have a safe spot where the machines are there, and there's so many machines for the level. So this side has this many, planes, jets, and whatnot, and this side has so many planes, jets, and whatnot, and you can just jump on and ride, and then after each one is destroyed, it's respawned there back at the base. So I'm hoping they do that instead of what they did in 2042, where you can airdrop them. Alright, they're bringing in bomb drones. So the bomb drones is probably going to be a support class effect, where you have to play as a support class. And they are bringing back the class system. You're going to have support, engineer, recon, and support, engineer, recon, assault. That's what you're going to have. And, each class will have its own strengths and its own weaknesses. Okay, I fully suspect that the bomb drone and the mortar will be for the support class. Now, this is something that a lot of people have not been talking about. So, now look, he puts that down, and then you see these guys walking up. So, we're going to have a new type of add-on to the classes. And I'm wondering is this going to be a support class or an engineer class? Because this looks more like a support class, but it could also be an engineer class trait, where you can add this only to engineers and support. Because this looks like something that an engineer would put down and for assaulters to go up. So this is a new way of opening new pathways in the map.
Come on, break your fucking face tonight.
Alright, the sledgehammer. I remember the sledgehammer from a long time ago in Call of Duty. But in this game, it's an add-on. Basically, it's like an equipment. Okay? That's the way they're making it seem like. That it's an equipment, not a secondary weapon. And you can use it to break open walls and stuff. Okay? I don't know for sure if that's what they're going to do. Because I know in Call of Duty, the sledgehammer, when it was introduced, was a secondary weapon. But if they're going to use it as an equipment, that's going to open things up immensely. I mean, that is just going to open things up immensely. And the action is fast-paced, and I'm seeing destruction everywhere. Okay? I mean, I'm seeing destruction just absolutely everywhere. Whether it's tanks, whether it's C4, and the destruction actually changes the map almost. And they're bringing back jets. Let me just say this. In 2042, I absolutely sucked at flying jets. Okay? Absolutely sucked at it. Okay? I'm hoping they simplify the controls. I'm hoping that the controls become a lot more simpler when it comes to jets, flying them. Because in 2042, the way you flew jets was it was praying that you got something. So I'm hoping this time they will simplify the controls when it comes to jets. And if they do, and if they make it simple enough where anyone can fly a jet, jets will become like top tier, something that you'll want to get. But like I said before, I don't want them to like call them in and airdrop them. I want a thing at the spawn point where they have so many jets, so many tanks and APCs and whatnot that you can jump in and just fly off, okay, and not call them in, okay. I really don't want them using the airdrop system in 2042 because, like, when they used the airdrop system, you know, you just saw people just dropping them out of the sky like candy, okay. I want each map to have so many tanks and APCs and jets and helicopters that spawn at the spawn point, so that way if you suddenly die, you can hop into a helicopter and fly off and get back in the battle real quick instead of having to see whether or not you can airdrop one in. And there you go, Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal. Let me just say this. I'm going to be honest with you. This was a shot across Call of Duty's bow. Okay? This is just another raider to the crown that Call of Duty has had all these years. And it's their own fault. Okay? Let's just be honest. It's their own fault. Okay, you know, Call of Duty had the king of FPS shooters for so long, and they messed it up. And then you had Delta Force, then you have Fortnite, then you had Escape from Tarkov, and now you've got Battlefield 6. And each one of these games is another game that's coming to tear down what Call of Duty has built. And honestly, I couldn't be more happy for it. This trailer and the one before it, the reveal trailer that focused on the campaign, we'll call it the campaign trailer, has shown that Call of Duty has lost its way, and now it's time for a new king to take over. And the last time we saw a Battlefield game was, what, 2 years? So they're not falling into the same trap that Call of Duty has, where they have to release something every freaking year. Okay? This was to put it mildly, this trailer and the campaign trailer and the reveal they did, the live stream they did, was a screw you to Call of Duty. And said, you've had your chance, now it's our turn. Okay? And I think that if they do this game right, if they do the multiplayer right, if they do the campaign right, and I'm hearing that they're also going to have a Battle Royale mode called Battlefield Royale, that if they do all this right, then this will be probably the first year that Battlefield has beat Call of Duty. And if this doesn't wake Call of Duty up to the nonsense they've been doing with all these stupid skins and stuff, then this probably will be the end of Call of Duty. Okay? Because when you have games like Delta Force, Escape from Tarkov, and now Battlefield 6 coming out, all coming for the Call of Duty crown, if this doesn't wake Call of Duty up, nothing will. And they deserve to just disappear and die a slow death. Call of Duty tried to become a Fortnite clone, and everyone saw it and said, hey, if we want to play Fortnite, we'll play Fortnite. We play Call of Duty because of the simple fact that we like a realistic first-person shooter. And Battlefield 6 said, hey, guess what? You want realistic? You want, you know, actually something that is realistic, that gritty and hardcore? Come over here. You know, because Battlefield 6 has already said that if they do skins and stuff, that they're going to be relevant to the story of the game, not to whatever is popular at the time. So that tells me already, and I don't know if they're going to do this truthfully, but by all accounts they are. But anything can happen. But if they do this, that tells me that they're not going to have, you know, Family Guy skins. They're not going to have stupid skins of unicorns farting and stuff. that they're going to have skins that are gritty that we actually want. Okay? Not skins that makes Fortnite kids come over and play Call of Duty. That skins that we actually want, that actually draw us into the world of Battlefield 6, not take us out just so, Activision or EA in this case can make a little money. Okay? I mean, I don't know what else to say. This, Delta Force, Escape from Tarkov, is a shot across Call of Duty's bow. That's what this trailer and this game is going to be this year. This year, Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty will determine whether or not Call of Duty survives. Because by all accounts, no one's excited for Black Ops 7, the next Call of Duty game. All right? But you look online and people are excited for Battlefield 6. Heck, I'm excited for Battlefield 6, and I rarely play Battlefield games. Okay? It sucks it's not on a PlayStation 4, but I'm kind of expecting that now because I'm honestly expecting that within the next couple of months, they're probably going to stop supporting the PlayStation 4 console and try to move everything to PlayStation 5. But it's like I said before, Battlefield 6 was a shot. This trailer, the campaign trailer, the live stream they did, was a shot across Call of Duty's bow. And if Call of Duty doesn't wake up, they're going to die. Okay? And when people remember Call of Duty, they're going to think, oh, you mean that game that was like Medal of Honor? You don't hear anyone talking about Medal of Honor anymore. Okay? Because Call of Duty killed them. And if Call of Duty ain't careful, they're going to be in the same boat with Battlefield 6. Where Battlefield 6 just plows over them because of stupid mistakes they made behind the scenes. It's that simple. But I absolutely love these trailers. I can't wait to hear more about Battlefield 6. And hopefully I'll get a PS5 within the next couple of months. I'll boot it up and start playing Battlefield 6. Because right now Call of Duty just ain't making me excited. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Geek Report for the weeks of July 15th through August 4th of 2025. To kind of recap what I talked about, we started off in our TV and movie news, and we talked about the live-action Legend of Zelda. And we talked about the fact that they finally found their lead characters of Zelda and Link. And how I think they're doing good so far with the casting of this movie. Okay? Then we moved on to the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer, and I kind of told you about how I felt that they were focusing it entirely on Johnny Cage, instead of another character, say Liu Kang or Sonya Blade or even Raiden. And then we moved on to the Tron Ares trailer, and the more I see of this trailer, the more excited I get for it, but I'm also worried because it is coming from Disney, okay? And Disney has not done right by a lot of its fans the past couple of years. Then we moved on to gaming news, and we talked about the Battlefield 6 trailers, okay? We looked at more than one trailer. We looked at the reveal campaign trailer. We looked at the World of Battlefield 6 trailer. And we looked at the multiplayer trailer. And how Battlefield 6, I basically talked about this. Battlefield 6 has basically done a huge shot across Call of Duty's bow. And with the way Call of Duty is this year and how people are just not excited for it, not really caring about it, this is Battlefield's year to prove to people why they are the alternative to Call of Duty and why they are honestly at this point better than Call of Duty because they're not pulling all that nonsense that Call of Duty is pulling, okay? I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are staying well, staying healthy, staying safe. Please check out some of my other video sites and my social media at the end of this video. I will see you guys in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode of the Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got a moment, please check out my other video sites as well as my social media and give them a like and follow. I will see you all in the next video and the next stream. Laters.